Ladies and gentlemen, the time has arrived. If you've been listening to...
You know what that is.
If you've been listening to this podcast for literally any of these fucking episodes, you literally pick out one episode, right? You will hear us mentioning the TV phenomenon and the book phenomenon that is Game of Thrones and A Song of Ice and Fire, and honest to God, I'm so tired of it, but here we are. So, we're all fans of it on this podcast, we all love it, and we all have different opinions on it. And one man in particular on this podcast has a lot, and I mean a
I don't know.
lot
I mean, you
to say.
You say that, and you talk about Joe, but you forget that I almost stopped being friends with all of you because you pissed me off.
Yes.
Because I was like, this fucking thing sucked, and the rest of you are like,
This thing has so much investment into our friendship, into this podcast, and I don't know why, but we're here for it, and we just keep moving forward. Please stop doing that. And here we are.
You see, guys, Ivaylo thinks that by doing this episode that I will be appeased, and I will no longer mention Game of Thrones on another episode again. But he doesn't. He fails to understand that, if anything, this is going to embolden me to mention it even more.
The North remembers.
The North remembers.
Oh God! Every single reference is gonna get dropped. And the thing is, right? I'm not against this, but I feel like we as a society have collectively moved on. But you know what?
You have. I'm on the Free Folk subreddit. We've never moved
Fuck
on.
off, bro.
Same.
Fuck off. Jesus Christ.
You kneelers, bro. You fucking kneelers can move on.
Society moved on.
We're in the
Even
true North, and you guys are in the South that you call the North.
Yeah, exactly.
Even people who are waiting on the books are giving up, bro. Like, I moved on.
I know, I've given up. I've given up on ever seeing the ending, like, even from George, yeah. But that doesn't mean I'm gonna ever let go how salty I am about the shitty show.
But yes, okay.
Yeah,
so
let's start where we should, which is let's talk about the first few seasons, which were, you know what, fucking great.
Yep.
Yes, they're fucking amazing. Some of the best
Go
TV
for it.
ever.
Okay, first thing I want to start off with, one of my favorite fucking characters in all of TV ever, Bobby B.
Bobby B. Let's go. Right.
Gods, I
go.
was strong then.
You've gotten fat.
You've gone fat. Just looks him up and down.
Ah. Bruh, like, I love Bobby B. They cast that fucking, like, character perfectly.
Just pat Brad on the head.
Oh,
you're gonna be a strong, capable soldier. Ends up being a fucking cripple.
You're gonna be a soldier. Cut to end. I am in my chair.
Who knew that Bobby B was inspired by Fred Flintstone?
Yeah, he was.
I
Mark
mean,
Addy.
come on, look at him, bro. Come on. Of course he
Every
was.
person he touches in that scene dies. It's just insane.
Start the damn joust before I piss myself.
We
he's
can
the
spend all episode just quoting Bobby B memes because
I mean, he is literally the best. And I mean, it's crazy how much of an impact he has on the fandom when he's only in it for one season.
Yeah.
Right?
And only half
And
of
not
one
even
season.
the entire, exactly. He's only there for most of one season, and then he dies. But everyone's like the true king, fam.
Yeah.
I saw Bobby B once. Gods, he was strong, man.
Well, ironically, he had a very peaceful reign apart from the Greyjoy Rebellion.
But yeah, because he was such a fuck up that he wasn't like constantly trying to prove himself like everyone else. So he never had to go to many wars.
Yep.
Because he's just like, I'm gonna go get drunk and lots of hookers and fucking have 50 bastards.
we make
Like,
fun
yeah.
we make fun of Bobby B, but at the end of the day, just like all of George's characters, he is quite compelling, and his character arc is very, very deep if you think about it. Apart from the
he's the
obvious
best,
gene.
bro.
Yeah. But he's one of those characters in Game of Thrones, and the reason why Game of Thrones was not as, I don't know, I mean, people who start watching Game of Thrones are kind of confused because some of the major plot points have already happened, and you're seeing like the resolution.
Oh
of
yeah,
it.
there's like because George, the way he does world building is
Absolutely.
he writes an entire history and then he writes the book.
Yeah, and obviously Robert
Yeah.
Baratheon being the character that he was, and being the warrior that he was during Robert's Rebellion, and just being the absolute maniac with the warhammer and the stag horns on his armor.
That is like one of my favorite pieces of art. Him standing over like the dead body of
Rhaegar.
Yeah.
Yeah, with the hammer in his arm, like hand. Yes, that's the best. Like that is one of my favorite like pieces of the story that was
It is.
not in the main story.
Yeah. He hits Rhaegar so hard the gems from his armor just flew off.
Yeah,
stuff
it's
like
just
that.
It smashes the man.
Yeah, and people are literally looking for the gems years after in the red
Oh
fork
yeah,
in the
because
river.
it's like the gold rush. You
Yeah.
know? There's nuggets in this river, boys.
And yeah, you know, we never, the viewers never saw that Robert Baratheon.
Yeah.
And the reason they
I
didn't...
mean, and that's the weird
Yeah.
thing, and yet you still feel how tragic the version we see now is
Oh, yeah.
compared. You still feel it because the storytelling, while it was still following the books, is so well done.
It is.
Yeah.
Like, you look at Bobby B and you're like, man, I feel bad for how fucked
Yeah.
you've become.
You've
and you're like, I've
become-
never even seen you at your prime.
Yeah, you've become
But
a
everyone
shell,
else,
man. You've become a
the
shell.
way every other character treats him and reacts to him and interacts with him, you pick it up. The context clues are there. You know, he used to be something great. Now look at him.
Yeah, it's just...
It's like, oh.
It's extremely sad, extremely
A
sad.
lot of characters, including himself, mention how he loved war and he was good at war, but he wasn't very good at ruling. And it reminds me of once George spoke about how Lord of the Rings ends with Aragorn becoming king. There's not much about his tax policy.
Well, yeah, because he's like, all he's really done is been a ranger his entire
Yeah,
life.
that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, yo, how do you rule, bro? Do you even know what taxes are?
Exactly. And that's what we get to see with Robert. He is Aragorn once he becomes king, right? At least
And old
George's
and
version
fat.
of it. Exactly.
Yeah.
Because that's the reality of it. That's what truly happens. It's not the fairy tale where you rule for 100 years and there's peace. Sure, there is peace, but it's the nitty gritty. It's the kingdom is 10 million in debt just to the Iron Bank.
Yeah.
I do remember one of the scenes where he has a big argument with Ned. He's like, I'm trying to rule 6 fucking kingdoms. How do you think I do that, you know? It's,
That's right.
And also, the thing about him, obviously, is like, that downward spiral and him becoming the meme that he does happens because of Lyanna. Like, let's face it.
Yeah.
He marries Cersei Lannister, who's like the biggest bitch. And I'm very much reminded...
I mean, there is like, I do like the films, not the films, the show does something that I really appreciate, which is Cersei in the first few seasons, at least the good seasons in the show, is way more compelling and a better character than her book counterpart. She's one of the few characters that is done better.
Yes.
It's probably because they cast Lena Headey as well, so they wanted to give her more time and more like development. But Cersei in the show even mentions how like there used to be a time where she loved him, right?
That's
And she
right.
was like, I wanted to be with you, but you ended up being such a fuck up because you were still
That's
like
right.
stuck up on fucking Lyanna, who I never even like knew who the fuck that was. Whereas in the books, she's just an evil bitch. There's like very little nuance, and she does a lot of stupid shit in like every one of the books. Whereas in the show, she's like a way more competent player at the game. And that makes her so much more compelling. And then it makes the relationship she had to him somewhat more interesting. Because there's moments in the show where there's like, they hate each other and they argue the entire time that fucking he's alive, you know. But there's also a few moments where you're like, raw, look how sad this is. Like they actually feel kind of bad about
Each other.
having like been in each other's lives. Yeah.
We've spoken a lot about Bobby B, but we do need to speak about the other 1,000 characters in the show, if we can at least.
I mean, we can skip one straight away forever because she wasn't that great at like in the early seasons to me either, because she had the most drawn out fucking arc, which is, you know, Dany. Like, it's just it's the way it's written. Her arc is just too slow. It took too long to get anywhere, and then when it got there, you know, it never went anywhere. So that's like,
It's funny you mention that because I recently rewatched the show, and this time I rewatched it with the Dany scenes. If our listeners remember, last time I rewatched it without the Dany scenes. So this time I
you
rewatched it.
rewatched it again?
I rewatched it again, the whole thing in a week, and I rewatched it this time with the Dany scenes, and I paid close attention because I wanted to see if there's something that I could pick up at least. It would give me a hint of what was about to come. Now, I'm not going to talk about Dany that much for the next 10 minutes. We're going to get to her at the end. But I want to say that as I was watching it, I did pick up on some things, some clues. Like, for example, obviously, by the end of season 2, a lot of characters have made a lot of progress, but she's only just gotten to Koth, and she's only just gotten her dragons, right? With Dany, I think, even in the books, once I saw the show, and I wanted to confirm this for myself, I ended up starting to read the books again, so I'm reading the books again, and...
This man.
he's not reading Berserk, so he can reread Game of Thrones for the 50th
Imagine.
time.
Well, you know, it's easy because I'm so familiar with the text, right? With Berserk, it's something new that I have to get into. I want to be at peace. And you guys know at the moment that it's very hectic in my private life right now. But I'm reading the books, and I realize that Georgie boy is such a clever bastard. Because he's sprinkling things here and there, ambiguous stuff, where...
I mean, clues have been there that she's not a good hero character.
Right, exactly.
Always, yes.
Exactly.
But the problem is, and we'll get to it later when we reach the point where we talk about the bad parts, But the problem is that Dan and Dave don't understand how to write a fucking transition for a character.
Mm-hmm.
So instead of subtly getting to where we're supposed to go, the moment they run out of material, they just go, yeah, now they're like that, by the way.
Right.
It happened.
And let's talk about that, because as we were mentioning, the first 4 seasons of Game of Thrones were amazing. They were very faithful to the actual source material, and there was very little that Dan and Dave themselves wrote originally into the show, apart from one of the most famous scenes in the entire series, perhaps, which is the Chaos as a Ladder scene, which they wrote it was a very original scene. It was not in the books at all.
And it's a really good scene.
It's a very good
I'll
scene.
give them credit for that one. That one's fucking great. But it's pretty much great because you have two of the best actors in the show.
That's right.
On screen at the same time. They could have said poo poo cuckoo and it would still sound good.
Yeah.
Because they're the fucking 2 best actors.
And they both went nowhere.
And they both went nowhere.
Yep.
Cut to that fucking that gif of like Conliffe Hill reading his script and just
throwing it away.
yeah, it's like I fucking am done.
But I wanted to say, right, the first 4 seasons have some of the best shit on TV. We all know about the Red Wedding. We all know about the War of the Five Kings. We all know about the Purple Wedding. We all know about Tyrion and Tywin Lannister. In my opinion, the best dynamic in Game of Thrones was between them. The show really went downhill after Tywin died.
Oh yeah, no, I think for a lot of people that's like the bookend for the show. It's like when Tywin dies, the quality of the show fucking dies on the toilet with him.
Yeah. Tyrion, with all his brilliance, spends the other seasons stuck in stagnation.
Tyrion, everyone's made the joke, but when he got in that fucking box and taken across the sea, he like experienced horrible brain damage from like the waves knocking him back and forth. Because he comes out like fucking missing a few brains.
He dropped 50 IQ points, bro.
Bro, more than that.
My God. But
And that's a good analogy for what actually happens to the rest of the show.
Oh god, it really is.
See, that's the thing. I didn't start hating the show until, like, I was a very big fan until all the way to the end. I still think the later parts have some amazing moments. We have Hard Home.
Name me the... Okay, but yeah, that's like the reason that's good, and the Battle of the Bastards too, is because it has no connection to the story if you don't need it to. It could be a self-contained, this is the battle scene. Dan and Dave didn't have to write it. The choreographers did that.
And it's literally 20 minutes of people fighting. So it's great, but there's no dialogue. So there's nothing from the source material.
Like nothing to it that Dan and Dave could have ruined. Because it's like, cinematographer and choreographer, please make this good.
But they're both very important plot points. Both Hard Home and Battle of the Bastards.
Yes, but again, they couldn't fuck that up.
Yeah, it's true.
Because it's a fight.
Yeah.
Like, how do you fuck that up with the budget that HBO gives you? I mean, we see that in the final season. You can fuck up a fight. But that's just because they stopped fucking caring at that point.
It just lowered the resolution by like 50 points.
Jesus Christ
I genuinely
Turn
thought...
the brightness to low.
I genuinely thought something was wrong with my TV.
Bro, I had to fucking turn the brightness up. Like...
Yeah.
I've never had to do that ever for anything I've ever watched on my TV.
I don't hate seasons 5, 6, and 7 that much.
Okay, I do because we reach the bad pussy in those seasons. And it was by the time we started getting dialogue like that and having Selmy die the way he does and all that kind of shit where I was just like, oh, you fuckers don't know how to end any
I was
of these.
super excited for Dawn.
Absolutely.
Because Dawn was like meant to be a huge thing. They had like the last remaining...
I was excited for Dawn and then we got fucking
The
Dawn.
last independent kingdom. You know, Oberyn Martell had given us a taster of them in the previous season.
Oh, God.
Again, with the mountain fight, another top 10 moment in Game of Thrones. And
oh yeah, no, like I said, like the reason I like season 4 is so good.
the
You
best.
have the trial. You have the trial, which is like one of the best scenes in television.
Yes.
You have the Viper versus the Mountain, which is like
one of the best fights.
I'm sitting there going like, "Yas, bro, give me this into my veins." It's like, they cast Oberyn perfectly. They cast Tywin perfectly. They cast Tyrion perfectly. It's like, how could those seasons not be good when you still had like the writing,
That scene ultimately inspired Pedro Pascal to put on a helmet and never take it off in The Mandalorian.
Bro.
So, you know, laugh at my
The helmet stays on.
The helmet stays on during sex, babe. You know?
Do you guys mind if we quickly go through some of the characters and we play a little game where we're like, whether we think what they did with them in the show, the character was good, whether they were
Yeah, let's
stupid.
do it.
Go on.
I mean, we can safely immediately say anyone who died before season 5, they did good with because they died before they had the chance to fuck him up. So like Oberyn, exactly how it should go. Yeah, he's supposed to lose because of his fucking like need for like to hear it. If he didn't need to hear the words, if he wasn't so cocky by that point, that is completely in character for Oberyn. That's perfect.
Oh yeah.
Tywin dying because he's a fucking shit who could not help himself but fuck Shay and then shit talk Tyrion even when he's got a crossbow pointed at him. Of course. That is exactly what Mega Chad Tywin would do. But yes, he dies.
What are you gonna do? Shoot me? Get shot?
You're no son of mine.
Get shot. Right, listen.
So what we should do then is then focus on the last 3 seasons. So seasons 5, or the last 4 seasons. Season 5.
I mean,
6,
do we
7,
want to mention a few more of the scenes we liked before we go into the shit pie?
Go for it.
Like, what is everyone's, like, from the first 4 seasons, favorite arcs and scenes and shit? I loved literally anything to do with Jaime. Back then, he was the most interesting villain slowly redemption arc ever. Like, seeing Jaime lose his hand and then just fucking completely lose his, like, purpose in life because his entire purpose was, I want to be the cool hero knight. Oh shit, I can't be that now.
I'm fucking my sister.
Perfect.
You know?
Amazing. Tyrion getting made hand. That entire part of the series is probably my favorite.
Yeah.
And then the battle at the end, the best part of Game of Thrones to me. Like that entire section.
All 9 episodes, like the first, like, not 9 episodes, but like the 9th episodes of the first 4 seasons all have a major plot point to them.
Oh yeah.
Baelor, Blackwater Bay, Red Wedding,
Yo, back when Stannis was a well-written character that had a chance to do things. Stannis the Manus.
I love Stannis.
I remember, even in the books, I am one of the people who's like, I kind of want Stannis to make it to the end because he's great.
Yeah.
He's such a fucking Chad, bro. Like,
love Stannis. What else do we love? My favorite scenes have some of my favorite scenes are actually Joffrey scenes because I love to hate Joffrey
because he's played amazingly.
He's played amazingly. Like, I love when
they got Jack Gleason, right?
Yeah.
What a fucking amazing actor.
One of my favorite scenes is the wedding between Tyrion and Sansa, and Joffrey just being a complete dickhead, and Tyrion just smacks the knife, and he's like, "You'll be fucking your bride with a wooden cock." Scene, I'm like, that's perfect. And then Tywin's like, please stop embarrassing me.
Anyone's interactions with like Joffrey are hilarious and great. Like when he has his little outburst of I'm the king, I do what I want.
I am not tired.
And then fucking Tywin's like, take the king to his bedchambers.
Oh my god.
Like
right.
And you can just see like Cersei's face, like, oh Jesus Christ, shut up, you little shit. That's the only man we're scared of.
Right, we only have 10 minutes left. Let's talk about...
I mean, that's if we want to only have 10 minutes left, my dude.
Let's talk about where it goes bad. Because I'll be very quick about this. Where it goes bad for me is Season 7, the absolutely bad shit crazy plan. I'm gonna go beyond the wall to bring back a zombie to my enemy who doesn't believe me. What the fuck? And then everything about that sequence, fucking Gendry runs from back to the wall to Winterfell to send the Draven.
Gotta go fast, go fast, go fast, go fast, go fast.
It is so retarded. That's what it just.
I love the people who went and did the math of how long he should have ran. It's like, everyone's frozen to death by the time Gendry reaches the wall, bro. Like, get the fuck out of here.
It's just so retarded. Okay, we move.
Oh god, or literally anything involving Pirateman.
Oh yeah.
I'm not gonna give him the name. He doesn't deserve it in the show. Fucking finger up the bomb man. We're gonna call him that.
Okay, yeah, we know who we're talking about.
Yeah, we know who we're talking. Like, Jesus Christ, what a way to take the scariest, most intimidating character in the book
and make him a joke, just a joke,
bro. He's a biggest like. He's not even Jack Sparrow. He could have at least been Jack Sparrow, right?
Yeah.
If you're gonna turn him into the joke pirate, at least make him a good joke.
Yeah.
Where did it start going bad for you, Lawrence? Where does someone go
go on.
best for you?
Like I said, the moment Jamie and fucking Braun go to Dorne, I was like, I give up on this fucking show. This is stupid.
Fine.
Like them two just in their little fucking like horses in the desert, and then they go to jail, and she's like, "You need the bad pussy."
The bad pussy.
It's like, who the fuck wrote this?
Joe, I'm gonna ask you.
Okay.
Tell us where it went bad for you.
So I agree with the plan. The plan is definitely one place it started to go wrong, but I think it starts a lot earlier.
Okay.
I think where it really starts is obviously we've got season 5, which starts to veer off from the actual plot. But I think when they start merging plot lines into one and they start discarding actually good plot lines, like there's no Quentin, there's no Ariane Martel.
Yeah.
There's a lot of story that's just missing. It's just literally missing from the show. And it's a shame because even George said Dan and Dave could have gone on for another 13 seasons.
We had the material to do like 16 seasons.
Yeah. And I think what it was they got tired of the job, which is crazy to me. It's the most outstandingly crazy thing ever.
I mean, it's crazy because, like, as we know, after, like, their careers fucking not going anywhere.
Yeah, and I feel sorry for them, right? But
I don't.
Yeah, neither do I.
Fuck you.
It's their own doing because, look, any three of us, if somebody came up to us and said, we've got this amazing show.
Now, if someone went to me, I'm going to give you your favorite IP and let you adapt it however you want. Bro, give me Berserk.
Give me Berserk immediately.
I will die working on that adaptation.
Right, exactly.
It's fine.
Exactly, that's my point. And I will do it for the rest of my life, happily, hands down. And the whole point of this is, Dan and Dave approached George as one of his biggest fans, right? Because George has this dinner with them, this 2-hour-long dinner, or however long it was. And at the end...
How do you do that? How do you get like, yo, man, let's have dinner with you?
right.
I can't walk up to a fucking author and be like, yo, I really like your shit.
They were already in Hollywood, so I'm assuming...
Yeah, but you know what they were known for at this point, right? Like, they'd done what? X-Men Origins?
Right.
How the fuck do you get to go to lunch with George?
Somehow they luckily ended up at HBO, and because it was HBO and George loved Rome, he gave them a chance. And here...
I mean, you know George loved Rome because there's so many fucking actors crossover.
Exactly. And here's where George decided he wanted to work with them, which is he asks them, who is Jon Snow's mother? And they answer correctly. Now, for you to become the custodian of this IP, and for you to adapt it, and for you to make not only a promise to the author, but to the audience that you will do a bloody good job, but then you go and mess it up, not only messing up Jon Snow's plotline, but you mess up Dany's plotline. And, okay, here's what I'll say. So for me, it started to go wrong when... basically, young Griff became Jon Snow. And I'm thinking, hold on, no, that's not what happens in the books because you're ruining Jon's plot, right? And you're ruining young Griff's plot.
Yeah, because he became like an amalgamation of we need a main character, so let's make Jon all of them.
Exactly.
Like, let's make Jon every main lead because we don't want to do the others.
What does Jon say? He says, I don't want it. But they don't listen to him. I guess they kind of forgot, right?
Oh,
so here's the
God.
thing. Here's the thing for me. For me... All right, hold on.
It's coming.
Dany could convincingly become the character in the books.
The heel turn is established.
Yeah, it's established. Happen, yeah. It can happen. But the thing is, it hasn't happened. And they could have portrayed the character in the show in such a way where it would have been a lot more convincing rather than rushing it in the last season. Because that's literally what happens. Even up until season 7, you don't have an inkling that Dany's going to turn immediately.
No, because like I said, when they do character arcs and transitions, they don't understand that there has to be a go-between. It's literally like you click your fingers and suddenly the character is completely fucking like a schizophrenic change in character to the opposite spectrum. And it happens with Jamie, you know? I never cared about the
character assassination.
That's right.
And you're just like,
I hate that so much.
That's not true! You are lying!
You're talking about the scene in the tent where Tyrion goes to free him, right? And I'm thinking, hold on a minute. Not only did you just stood up Brienne, she was in love with you from the beginning. That entire
like episode is him undoing his entire character arc in like the shortest period humanly possible.
Yeah, and then you go and say, I killed this king to save 500,000 people, but who gives a crap about them? I'd rather they all died. What?
Yeah, like, what are you talking about?
That whole conversation he has with Brienne in the hot tub, gone. Destroyed.
Yep.
Like one of the best scenes in the show.
Destroyed, shut on.
Like that dude literally showing like I'm one of the best actors in this series in that scene, and you're like, it's now meaningless.
And what are they reduced to? They're reduced to Cousin Olsen and they're reduced to the Kingslayer brothers. Like
Can we
What?
talk about how Tyrion spends like 2 seasons having the exact same plan, and that is
And not doing anything.
and that is no. The plan is I'm gonna talk to Cersei, bro. She
Yeah.
thinks you
Yeah.
killed her kids, you killed her father, and you killed her mother.
This is one of the changes that took place in the show because people liked Peter Dinklage too much, and it happened, and it's shit that it happened. But in the books, Tyrion is a villain.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's
when
right.
you get to current time, Tyrion is the bad guy. He's one of the worst people. His intent is to bring Dany back so he can wipe out his entire family line. That means like the children, he wants there to never be another Lannister left.
Yeah.
Tyrion in the show ends up because people liked him and they needed to keep him fucking, but people need to like him. He's Tyrion. They didn't allow him to have that. So what you end up with is a Tyrion that has zero fucking motivation for like 4 seasons. He sits around, he gets drunk, and he doesn't know things because he's fucking stupid.
Drop some banter.
It's funny you mentioned that, Lawrence, because in George's original plan, which is available for people to read online, Tyrion is actually the main villain, and he becomes a rival to Robb Stark. And now Robb made a lot of mistakes, and if you want to learn about that, you can watch my gaming video on Robb. I'll link it below. But Tyrion is actually supposed to become the villain, right? Even, after Tywin and after Joffrey and after Ramsay Bolton and after Euron, he is the villain. He's supposed to be one step above.
He's supposed to be the one everyone underestimates.
That's right.
And that is what, pushes him. That's his motivation. He's sick and fucking tired of getting the short end. Haha, pun. Because that's like his entire character's experience of existence is him always getting the worst outcome.
Right.
Regardless of how hard he tries to be the good person or do the right thing. And then in the show, he doesn't change because of it at all. He ends up this fucking static.
He becomes the moral character.
Yeah, which is this doesn't
The most-
make fucking sense. You just
He killed his dad.
Tywin.
You know what's worse? Moral characters in Game of Thrones get punished and they
Exactly.
die.
And
Tyrion
Tyrion doesn't. He gets
yeah?
rewarded.
Tyrion doesn't. No.
The only punishment he gets is at the end when he gets presented with the book, A Song of Ice and Fire.
Yeah,
He's told that he's
yeah.
not in it. And I'm thinking, okay, but that's not punishment.
Who cares?
Who gives a shit, bro?
It's a fucking book.
Yeah, Jon gets sent to Beyond the Wall. That's his punishment.
Here's the bad part, right? Considering Dan and Dave supposedly read the fucking books, yeah?
Yeah.
All the books in fucking Westeros are lies.
Yeah.
That's right.
That's not a twist or some great rev-a-fucking-lation. George's entire point is that you can't know the history of Westeros because it was written by whatever fucking Scepter or Meister was there at the time.
Yeah, they're unreliable narratives. That's right.
No shit, fucking someone's gonna get not put into the book.
And another thing that's very funny, Jon getting exiled after the Unsullied leave. Why?
Right, yeah, that makes zero
And
sense.
they go to the Isle of butterflies of death.
Yeah,
guys.
the butterfly. What the fuck? Right.
I'm gonna go die now.
The irony is that two things can happen. Either Jon goes beyond the wall, he meets her discount Ygritte, and he gets married and he has kids. He has little Targaryen kids, and they'll have a resurgence in about 100 or 200 years. Or he becomes a new Night King. He gets turned again, and he becomes a new Night King.
Nah, bro. Aegon Targaryen coming back beyond the wall, being like, it's fucking Boruto Next Generations. We're ready. Game of Thrones, the Next Generation.
God damn it, dude. God.
And then you've got
fucking damn it.
Drogon taking his mother's corpse, and I don't know where he's flying off to.
Oh, you mean Drogon? The I know what symbolism means. You know what
Oh
Yes.
my
Yes.
lord. Right.
Bad throne, bad corruption and political bullshit. I will burn it down. I am a burner down of system, just like my mommy.
And then what does Brandon Broken do? He's like, oh, you guys just take care of everything. I'm going to go play Minecraft.
Right.
Bro, that's the worst part of him getting made king is it's like he should have been Master of Whispers, right? Undeniably
Yeah,
fine.
that's right.
As what he does. Making the fucking computer man that doesn't have emotions anymore king, it's like, what the fuck? Who?
I mean, it's an interesting concept, but it's not good in Game of Thrones.
Everyone who makes the decision to do that would have been like, no.
One more thing about Bran. The last cool thing Bran does was obviously Hodor, right?
Right.
And
Yeah.
you can tell that's the last bit of George's influence in the show.
That's right.
Because
that's right.
after that, Dan and Dave never touch it again. Because they're
Yep.
like, nope, we have no idea how to operate this. We're gonna peace out, you know?
Oddly, it's the same way that John gets killed, comes back from the dead, and nobody talks about it until Arya meets him.
Yeah.
And he's like, how'd you get
Yeah.
stabbed in the heart? And I'm like, hold on a minute. 3 seasons, and now they mention it?
Here's the thing that really pisses me off. For some reason, John doesn't use this as a consistent trump card in the show.
Right, I came back from the dead.
Literally, pull your fucking shirt open and be like, yo, do you see where I got stabbed, cunts? Why am I here? Oh, right. Magic. I don't have to go get a fucking zombie to prove magic. 'Cause look.
That's right.
That would have been so much simpler.
But in the show, for some reason, he constantly avoids it as if it's a fucking, like, mole or something.
Yeah.
Like, I don't
Like
want
an
people to
embarrassment,
see
yeah.
my butthole.
the one time he used it was to get out of the Night's Watch, and then it was never brought up again.
Oh, that's
was
right,
it.
that's
So,
right.
yeah, like, I've already served one life. Like, yeah.
When he gets rescued from the north and they're taking these frozen bits of clothing off him in the ship, and Dany sees his naked body and she sees all the wounds.
Yeah, it's never mentioned.
That's the only other all the scars. I mean, that's the only other scene you see it, and then they don't talk about it at all. And I'm like,
It's so fucking
Maybe something you
stupid.
should
Like,
talk about.
imagine you had the Messiah that has been fucking like revived from the dead by magic,
right,
and no one ever questions
Nope.
it.
Nobody.
right. Which also begs the question, right? If John can come back, why can't anyone else come back?
Everyone should. Exactly. Because, like, by the end, what you would have originally assumed is he comes back because he has a role to play, so the Lord
Right.
of Light's like, yeah, sure. But he didn't. He didn't do shit.
Right.
So there was no purpose for his revival, thus everyone should be... Bobby B should come back and be like, God's I'm strong again.
Right,
Bobby B
exactly.
should come back in his prime, bro. The Warhammer, you know?
And you get Thoros of Myr when Arya asks Thoros of Myr, I don't need you to bring back 6 men, just 1 man without a head. And then Thoros says, I don't think it works like that, child. And I'm like, okay, how does it work then, genius?
Yeah.
Jesus.
How? Explain the fucking system.
Right. So quickly to wrap up, I want to say a couple of things. So Hodor, probably the most only innocent character in the entire show, because the only time he ever commits violence is because Bran is controlling him, is puppeteering him.
Oh, yeah.
And then you've got Bran, who's literally a computer god, and he literally uses everyone as a puppet. He uses Samwell as a puppet.
I am the Omnissiah.
Right, and he could have probably been helpful. And what does he do? He spends the battle in the Godswood because that's where he needs to be for some reason. And he just he walks into Ravens and just flies about like, I don't know what he's doing.
Bran just sits there at the gate of Winterfell judging everyone who walks past.
Right.
That's all he does, you know?
Right. So, last thing I want to say is about Dany. Now, Dany is a great character, let's be honest. She's a very formidable character. She could have been very well treated by the writers. She didn't, even if she was to have this ending, which she didn't need to, it could have been very nicely handled. It wasn't. They could have spent at least 3 other seasons building up to it and justifying why she turns into who she becomes at the end. But personally, I don't accept who she becomes. The last chapter of Dance is just after what's just happened in the arena. She's being found by
The Dothraki Horde, right?
the Dothraki Horde, right? And
Yeah.
she's been drinking rancid water from the river the whole time
Yeah, she's
just to
pretty much
survive.
like gone fucking crazy. She's like hallucinating and shit.
Right, and it's starting to turn her, right? So you start to get some clue as to this could be a foreshadowing of what happens to Dany, but it's not solid, so it's vague, it's ambiguous. So in the next
It's
2 books,
intentionally ambiguous
Exactly.
because it needs to hook you for the next book, which never comes.
what did Dan and Dave do? Instead of doing that, they end up using the last half of season 8 to just turn her, and it just doesn't make any sense.
instead of doing that, they decided to make a new rule first of all, which is fire doesn't burn Targaryens, which isn't fucking the case. Why would what? What?
Right.
Yes, it fucking does. There's
Yeah.
the fucking Dance of Dragons, you stupid cunts. Other Targaryens got burned. Oh my fucking god. Like, the fact that when she walks out of, like, the burning Dothraki, like, holy house, she's like, fire doesn't burn a dragon. Like, that's not how it fucking works.
Right.
And I mean, people have pointed out the inconsistency with what I just brought up, which is Jon Snow burns his fucking hand when he throws a lantern at this
that's right.
stupid White
Yep.
Walker in, like, season 2 or
Yep.
1.
Yep.
Why is he burning, guys?
If he's a Targaryen.
Targaryen.
Exactly.
A dragon cannot be burned.
That's the thing. I don't mind Dany being evil. I think it has the grounds for it. But the show just...
Well, yeah, like I said, if it was
Yeah.
done well,
Yeah.
The show
I'd be
just
totally fine with
rushed,
the
man.
ending.
It was so fucking bad.
Last thing before I wrap up, I know I've already said this, but definitely last thing. Just today, I found an article that I sent to the guys where George says, of course he said this, that the ending of the next book is not going to be the same ending as the show, which I'm
No
very happy to hear.
shit. No fucking shit.
And a lot of people give George, you know what they say about him being slow and having writer's block, probably the longest in
I
history.
mean, what I say is, my guy ain't writing the last book. I can guarantee you that someone else will have to
Right,
finish
well,
that with his notes.
Whatever he does give, I would be very grateful for. I'm just happy
guys,
that
listen,
he's still going.
He's writing both of them at the same time. He's gonna drop both of them.
Jesus
You know,
Christ.
that's what's
Could you imagine if that
happening,
happened?
No, you know what he's gonna do? He's gonna write parallel timelines again, where it's like, this is this side and this is this one. Release them at the same time.
Yeah. But, Dany did not deserve what happened to her, neither did Jon, and a lot of other characters. And I think, there could have been better kings than Bran. But anyway, we digress.
There could have been, but never has a truer thing been said. There could have been anyone.
Can I just say, I really hope that... Because the thing is, right, when the finale happened, everyone just dropped Game of Thrones immediately. Like,
Yep.
people get...
Yep.
I mean, Joe is the only person I know who can rewatch
And,
this shit. I
and
can't
who's
do
still
it.
as passionate as ever about it, all the
I
props to you,
literally
man.
can't. Like, I will go watch scenes of my favorite actors in, like, moderation on their own. I cannot rewatch
The meme
show.
scenes, just watch the meme scenes.
Yeah. The fact that the first scene is a White Walker scene, anytime I've tried to rewatch episode 1, I get angry.
It does.
Yeah, 'cause
very
it's pointless
funny.
now, yeah.
Yeah, it's like, why are you setting this up
But
here? I don't care
That's
anymore.
the thing. The show has not aged as well as some of the
Unfortunately.
other TV masterpieces, because they do still linger in memory, but like I've never seen an
Yeah.
IP just get dropped completely.
It's like all its cultural significance is
It's gone. It
gone.
really
Yep.
is. It really
Like the mugs, the merch you saw everywhere, winter's coming. Nah, fam, winter ain't
all the
ever
babies
coming.
named Khaleesi,
Oh,
you're
dear.
getting bent. But yes, listen, I've been a Ivaylo. I have a blog. Check it out on Ivinyls. I'm done with this IP. I'm done for now. We're gonna
I'm
keep
not.
talking about it. I know you're not. I know you're not. But I'm going with the collective society and moving on. One day, I hope to read the books that he releases if he does. But until then, I'm done with Game of Thrones.
Guys,
This has
Ivaylo
been
says this.
Ivaylo.
But I promise
Goodbye.
you, a lot sooner than you think, we'll be back with another episode on Game of Thrones, and he'll do it whether he likes it or not.
I have a gun to my head. Help me.
Oh my god! But Ivaylo, who has a better story than Bran the Broken?
All right.
All right.
I'm gonna go kill myself now. I'm joking, please.
Dun, 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 dun.
We're not going to kill ourselves. Thank you for listening to us. I've been Joe.
This has been Ivaylo. Goodbye.
Bye bye.